And how is our patient, Doctor? Celestia stood on the edge of the bed in the castle memorial wards, looking over the unicorn that had been found in the records of the catwalk. He had taken a pretty good beating for the incident. A missing tooth and a few bruised ribs were the worst of his injuries, but he also suffered from numerous bruises and cuts elsewhere. It was maybe a good thing he was sleeping, though the occasional moans from the unicorn made it obvious his mind was restless. Hmm. Well, we've started him on some treatments to make sure he's stable, to verify he hasn't sustained any internal injuries. After that, we'll get to work on mending his bruised ribs and regrowing his missing tooth. It's definitely not going to happen overnight, but he should recover just fine. And did you find any identification on him? Celestia asked, not taking her eyes off the unicorn.
No, we didn't. Why do you ask?
I wanted to see if it had his address, so we could tell his family he's being cared for. Celestia said, putting on a smile as he turned to face the doctor. Thank you again for tending to this pony, Dr. Physica. I'll check it back again in an hour. Why does it seem a lot of my fics that I've been reading so far when it comes to multi-line stories have at least one character in the hospital? With that, Celestia turned and gracefully strode from the room, letting her lips form into a frown as she slipped out the door. Part of her was happy the pony was going to make a full recovery. Things could have turned out much worse if some heavier part of the catwalk's fallen on him. Yes, she was happy, but at the same time something wasn't right. Sister, what are you doing here? The familiar voice drew Celestia out of her thoughts. It made her turn and offer Luna a gentle smile as he walked up. Oh, Luna. I'm just checking up on the injured pony. He should make a full recovery, but he's out cold for the moment. I see. And what of Nyx? How's the bed any sign of her? She's not in the castle or on the grounds. And Spike sent a letter saying he hadn't found her at Twilight's home either. I've ordered the search expanded to include the streets surrounding the castle. And some of them have led the guard to check up set points to ensure Nyx doesn't slip out. She felt it was best for the unicorn to get his sleep. Celestia fell silent. A thought collected to his voice, then caused her to smile on her lips as he looked down at the Princess of the Night. Do you mean? Luna only nodded a silent confirmation. Very well. Celestia said as he turned to leave. I will gladly lead this unicorn in your capable hooves. Please send word when you've been able to find out anything of use. I will do the same if we are able to locate Nyx. Quicksnap sat silently as he watched Shiny Armor run a hoof through his mane. He sat on the opposite table from the prince inside of the castle's interrogation rooms. He had, so far, managed to dodge and avoid most of Shiny's questions. He had been forced to give his real name, especially when Shiny realized it was etched on the bottom of the camera. He also had to admit that Colin was the unicorn he had been with when he ambushed Cadence in Twilight. Beyond that, Quicksnap had been able to avoid the truly compromising questions. But Shiny looked like he was far from giving up. Why were you waiting outside the castle walls? I was outside the walls? Quicksnap nervously asked. He was trying to sit still, but he was unable to keep himself from fiddling with his hooves. It felt as if he'd explode if he didn't do something with them. Yes, you were, Shiny confirmed. The guards at the gate said you'd been loitering outside the walls for almost an hour. Was I really loitering? I thought I was just standing there enjoying the view of the castle. It really is a beautiful sight this time of year. But didn't you say you've been a Canterlot resident for the past several years? Shining asked. I did. Then haven't you seen the castle before? Well, that doesn't mean I can't look at it, does it? Quicksnap was able to quiet his nerves for a moment by eagerly pursuing what would be the fifth tangent in the interrogation. I mean, tourists come to the capital all the time to see it. It's one of the great landmarks of Equestria, and it's right in our backyard. We should enjoy it more than anybody else. But folks in Canterlot never find the time. This pony I work with at the paper has never even seen the castle from up close. He just never had a reason to come to this side of the city. Shining Armor sighed and scratched his forehead. Yes, I understand. It is a shame. But you still haven't answered my question. Why were you... Prince Armor? Shining flinched. Quicksnap saw what looked like the beginnings of a shout from the prince's throat. But Shining didn't shout. He kept his calm and turned to look at the guard, who had just poked his head through the door leading out of the interrogation room. What is it? The guard held up the envelope in his wings. They're done. Well, what's done? Quicksnap couldn't help but ask, trying to cane his neck to see what the guard was holding. Thank you, Shining said, quickly taking the envelope in his magic. He waited for the guard to close the door and turned back to face Quicksnap. He opened the envelope gingerly and began to slowly take out its contents. Quicksnap recognized what Shining was holding almost instantly. They were photographs. Photographs undoubtedly developed from the film in his camera. You aren't a bad photographer, Quicksnap, Shining complimented as he looked at the picture at the top of the stack. He gently drew the photograph out and flicked it onto the table, like he was a card dealer in Las Pegasus. The picture spun on the well-cared-for table. It came to a stop at Quicksnap's hooves. He couldn't help but swallow nervously as he felt his heart skip a beat. The picture resting in front of him was of Cadence and Twilight, standing stunned, while Nyx held between Twilight's hooves. It was a picture he had taken when he and Colin ambushed Shining's family at the Hearthwarming Festival. Forcing a laugh, Quicksnap opened his mouth to try and deny that picture was his. He tried numerous times, but each time his tongue felt numb. It was like his mouth was dried as well. No matter how many times he opened and closed his jaw, he just couldn't seem to draw up any words. Shining watched this, taking the silence as an admission of guilt, before flicking his prize to the next picture in the stack. He looked at this one only briefly, before flipping onto the table with the first. It was another picture from their ambush. This time, a large close-up shot of Cadence with Colin pestering Twilight for questioning in the background. No matter how Quicksnap wished to stop, the pictures just kept on coming, and the pile kept on growing. Shining flicked all the pictures from the ambush onto the table, and they began to get into some of the other images Quicksnap had captured. There was a picture of them coming back from the diner at the hotel, a picture of them leaving to go shopping the next day, a single picture of his mother slipping outside to check the mailbox. Then there was a picture of their home later that evening. The same evening, the logs in the back caught fire. Quicksnap thanked his lucky stars he hadn't taken a picture of the backyard. That would have certainly made Shiny question if he and Calm had any involvement with the fire that had occurred. But there was still one picture left. One picture Shiny was staring at. Quicksnap didn't know what the photograph could have been of. The last picture he remembered taking was the one Shining had thrown onto the table. Maybe he had set the camera off by accident. Would have been the first time. Those pictures were always a bit confusing. Even he, a trained photographer, sometimes had to stare at one of those accidental pictures for a quick while, understand just where it had been taken. But something was wrong. Shining didn't look confused, like he was looking at a photograph he couldn't make heads or tails of. No. It was hard to pin down. He was kind of angry, but he also looked like he couldn't believe what he was saying. It was like the time Quicksnap had shown Column a snapshot of the Buffalo Ballerina Company that had started up after Discourse attack on Equestria. I'm proud of those guys! Finally, after several tense minutes, Shiny took his gaze off the picture and looked at Quicksnap, making a shiver crawl down the Pegasus' spine. Okay, no more games! I want you to tell me everything you know about this picture! Or the next pony who will be asking your questions will be the prosecutor when you're tried for treason. Do you understand? Quicksnap nodded as he swallowed nervously, and at that, Shining Armor set the final picture down on the table. Quicksnap leaned in and instantly recognized the picture wasn't his work. The focus was way off, and the image was blurring from an unsteady shot. There was also a blob of beige in the top center of the picture, a blob that had to be Column's chin. First rule of using a neck-mounted camera, keep your head up. But when Quicksnap looked past the flaws in the picture, his breathing grew still. It was a picture of Nyx. He could recognize her by her cutie mark and mane. Her headband was gone, and white coat had turned an inky black. She had been photographed mid-gallop, unless he was looking back at the camera. Her wings were spread as he was preparing to take flight, and her eyes, with their slid pupils, showed brightly in the light of the camera's flash. And the look on the filly's face was one of terror. She was scared, like she was being chased by the headless horse himself. Well, I can't take this, Quicksnap said, as he used his wings to pick up the snapshot. Colin must have. He was just so dead set on making sure every pony knew the truth that Nightmare hadn't been put in jail like so many of us believed. He takes his work very seriously, sure, but I've never seen him this determined. I shouldn't have left him alone. What do you mean? Quicksnap sighed, still looking at the picture. Colin needed a picture of Nyx with her black coat to make his story. So we worked out for a plan to getting into the castle. The first thing we did was sneak in with the ponies, delivering the tables for the reception. After that, we